Hi everyone, here we are in another episode of Connect in Public, and today we're going to talk about Gen Z. So dive into the world of Gen Z. And because I was discussing with Joanna Dembowska, hi Joanna,
Hi,
and
hello.
Joanna, I would like to introduce you to Francesca. Uh,
Hello.
so the
Hi, Francesca.
Hi.
so the whole point was that I have met Joanna and we've been talking about Gen Z, and Joanna has been an incredible source of knowledge and coaching. And so as Joanna was talking to me about this event that she's going to talk about the Gen Z, I said, you have to meet Francesca because I've also worked with Francesca, incredible colleague where she helped me a lot in creating amazing designs in visualization to attract even people, the younger generation. And Francesca, as I always said, she's the expert of Gen Z, and she's has a wealth of knowledge in between this part of knowing the business very well and marketing and knowing how the Gen Z people think. So it's a perfect person to ask questions on what should we do in order to position a brand to potentiate towards this new generation. And so as Joanna is talking about Gen Z on this conference that you're going to see put on a link, I thought it would be a good opportunity for you, Joanna, to meet Francesca and make some questions for your research and deep dive into this world. And I'm sure that you have many great questions to make to Francesca. So thank you so much, Francesca and Joanna, for your time. I would like to know if would like to start introducing yourselves, Joanna, Francesca.
Yeah, go ahead, Francesca.
Sure. So I'm Francesca Maria, originally from Italy. I'm 25, recently 25, just a week ago, or still 24.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so I'm a Gen Z practitioner, as we say in my description, as in I'm born Gen Z. I'm from 1999, one of the best years ever. And yeah, I'm currently in Brussels, the old rainy Brussels. And I'm very glad that you called me and you gave me this opportunity to talk about my generation.
Wonderful. And I'm Joanna Dembowska. I'm Polish in origin, and I think we've met in Brussels. So I'm currently living in Brussels, Belgium.
Mhm.
It's a funny when you said Gen Z, but actually we're meeting as three generations, right? So I am Gen X. I'm born in 1967, and in all my years of career, I really focus on maybe technical skills and digitalization systems, automation, customer service, customer experience, but people at heart for me. And leading the global teams in 10 different time zones, 23 countries, it really brought to my attention how we are, let's say, the same through the generations, but also how different because of where we grew up, how we've been exposed to different possibilities, opportunities that were maybe not privy to other generations. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Nice. Thank you so much and for the introduction. And indeed, Joanna, people are the core of all organizations. And so it's interesting that once I talked with someone as my colleague, it said, "Ah, my dream is to work for Joanna because Joanna knows how to manage people and help me on my career." And so I always saw you as a leader,
Thank you.
special people leader. So it's incredible to have this opportunity as well to deep dive into your knowledge, and looking forward to hear your questions to Francesca and what can we learn about the Gen Z. Do you have any specific question?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I have specific questions, but maybe for the audience and really wanting to share this with the LinkedIn community, let's clarify at least where we have the Gen Z when we have Gen X. So the youngest generation that we're not going to talk today about is Generation Alpha. And in some of the sources, the year of birth is starting from 2010 up to the 2024. And from Gen Z, I think what Francesca is saying, really the start of 1999, or in some sources is 1998. This is the year of my daughter's birth. And the youngest is like from the 1995 and maybe 2013 up to 2013. I like to look at the 2010, maybe easier. But then from the millennials, we have 1981 to 1996. And as we said, we are three generations here. So the Gen X will be 1965 to 1980. And I think that information we can kind of take into assumption when we're talking about the different generations. But what I like, Francesca, to share with us, like all your upbringing and things that you remember that from your childhood that created the Gen Z that is today.
Mhm. So, as I said, I'm 1999, so I'm the end of the old millennia and the beginning of the new millennia, basically. And yes, as you said, like Gen Z is a little bit difficult to define because a lot of people they say it's 96, a lot of people they say it's 2000. Sometimes they define me as a zillennial, so the end of millennials and the beginning of Gen Z. I like to define myself as part of Black Eyed Peas. That's basically my generations. It's just the perfect description of it. The upbringing was very weird. So I grew up with my sister. She's full on millennial. So I had all the experiences of a millennial. I grew up with Walkman, like from the old Nokia. We suddenly had iPhones in our hands. So it was a very weird period and fascinating at the same time because from one month to the other, suddenly you had a technology that revolutionized everything. And we were the ones knowing about it while our parents were kind of confused about what was going on. And then like 8 years old, we were describing to them, oh, yes, this is the new iPhone and this is how you use it. So it was a very shifting period, let's say. We grew up in a phase where we went through a lot of stuff. So we went through the advent of technology, we went through crisis, we went through COVID recently, and we lived all of them as young adults or teenagers as well. So it's a different generations. I think it shaped us in a different ways in retrospect to other generations before, because we were the first one to actually grow up in this type of environment, never heard of before.
Yes, I think I also have been witnessing this, and I think the main change is that you had to also at the start of your time, what I see is like connect to internet, and I come from Poland, so that connection was quite long, right? And now today, when we look at the Gen Z experiences, but also Generation Alpha, the internet is in everything, right? We are not connecting. But there is an element that is very highlighted when we're talking about the Gen Z is the values and how the life of generation has been showing how be transparent with what the values are. So can you share with us those beautiful values that Generation Z is showing very transparently to other generations?
Yeah. So I think you used the correct word. So transparency would be one of the main values that we Gen Z have. We demand honesty from everything around us. We demand honesty from the brands that we're shopping from. We demand honesty from the grocery shops that we're going to. We're very politically active, I would say, or at least educated on it. And we strive for education. So the internet allowed us actually to have this mindset. So since it's so easy to actually gather information about something, please do gather information about the things that you're talking about. And if you're ignorant about something, ignorant in the sense of not knowing something, just in the span of one click or in the span of a phone call, you can call everybody and they can explain to you the situation. So we strive for education as well. Sadly, the other side of the coin is that we have a lot of false information as well. So we're constantly fed a lot of information, and you have to be careful with understanding which ones are correct informations and which ones are misleading informations. But yeah, we strive for education. We strive for a world where everybody can speak up and don't have to be afraid about their opinions or their objectives and stuff. So we're really into sustainability, environment. We're not greenwashing kind of greenwash the generations, let's say, but at the same time in a nice way. So we brought it up a lot to actually make everybody understand that it's actually it's our word and we have to care about it. If we refer it to brand authenticity, we want the brands to show that they're going towards using good practices, that they're using materials that are recyclable or recycled before. So yeah, I think as of values, we're very conscious and we're very transparent and we try to be educated, at least. We strive to be educated.
Yeah, in some of the research, I came across that Gen Z can recognize a value add within 8 seconds. So Can you share some of those digital experiences with us? Like, what are the Gen Z specific experiences that are so dominant as well?
As of shopping online, you mean?
Yeah, like shopping online or social media, and also ways of marketing to that generation.
So I would say, first of all, we're bombarded with ads online. There's a million of them, and a million and one, they're actually portraying the same product. So you have to be very careful on where you actually are buying something, from who, and what is the product itself. There's a lot of sites that are just mock-offs of other products. So there's big, the brands that sell the stuff for like $1, $2, and you're wondering how can a product that I usually buy for 20 can cost $1. That's either not good practice of the company that is producing them, or it's a mock-off product that is probably going to break in the span of 2 seconds of having that. A lot of the ads that you receive online, so I'm mostly thinking of Instagram and TikTok, they're the same ads over and over again, but from different websites actually. So you have to be careful, check who is reviewing them. Most of the times we rely on peer-to-peer words. So if I bought already from that website, then I'm going to tell my friends, okay, buy from that website. The product was actually the good product. And then influencers play a big part as well. So if the influencer is reviewing a product positively, then probably the product is actually a good product. And then if you see the same product that they were promoting for $20, if you see it and then it costs $10, then probably there's something sketchy going on. From the website, you can clearly recognize it, because most of the time you go on the website of the shop and you just see the original price crossed off, as in like, oh, it's only today, you have a deal, only today, you have to buy now, otherwise tomorrow it's going to cost the full price. Those are mock-offs websites, fake advertisement. A lot of the times they take also the material that some influencers do and they just reuse it for their brand. So yeah, you have to be kind of careful. We have the eye for it. Most of the time, my mom, when she wants to buy something online, she asks me, is this a website that you used before? Do you know anything about it? So it's a lot of peer-to-peer, I would say. That's the most effective marketing technique that we have right now, I think.
So it's like a fake news, and here's the fake advertisement that you have to be really wary about where this comes from. I think this is clear and good insight for the brands that what honest marketing and kind of be differentiator on that messaging that is sent. Thank you. So I know that you both and all of us somehow have a sharing about the fashion. But Francesca, do you want to share with us a little bit about the fashion trends among the Gen Z and how the Gen Z approaches the fashion?
So I think every generation has their style. Like or every era, at least. If you're thinking about the 20s, they had their style. If you're thinking about the 50s, they had their style. Now you get to Gen Z, and we do have our style, but it's not conformative. We're not all dressed in the same. It's very an expression of self-identity, let's say. So as of me, I'm a very fashion forward person. I really like to stay on top of trends, and I really like to know about what is trendy, what is not in the fashion industry. And I like to try a lot with my clothes as well. Sometimes I flop, sometimes I have very good outfits. So it really depends. But it's an expression of self-identity. So it's not everybody dresses the same. Sometimes, yes, because trends are a big thing. Trends and micro trends, which there's a difference between the two of them. So a trend can be streetwear. A micro trend could be barrel jeans, for example. It's a micro trend because it's now, and I don't know if in the span of 2 months we still have it. But as of now, everybody probably owns a pair of barrel jeans, I would say. So we do follow the trends. We try to stay on top of them while expressing ourselves as well. So accessories play a major part in our fashion. So now we're experimenting with all type of jewels, all type of makeup, hair extension, hair plugs, whatever you want to see. So we use accessories a lot, and I think way more than previous generations as well. We prioritize ethical brands most of the time when we're going shopping. We do shop online a lot, of course. We're the generation of online shopping. We do really like to go to vintage markets, secondhand shops. We try to stay like environmentally friendly in that sense, and cognitive about like the planet itself. And vintage has played a big part in our way of fashion. So we're trying to mesh the two words together. We have the
Mhm.
vintage style while meshing the new trends and trying to come up with something new. So, for example, Y2K is very popular right now, which is the style from the 2000s. And we just took the clothes of my mom and my sister and stuff. And we're now revamping them in ways that we like and we think are fashion forward.
Perfect. I think it's good for some of the fashion brands to hear, especially when women in a priority for those brands, to hear you as Gen Z is coming to the bigger and bigger purchasing power. So, Francesca, we also talk about the different changes, but also on your fashion trends. And you already shared with us that online shopping is quite a big one. But what are the Gen Z shopper want from brands? Can you give us somehow your look at it?
So I would like to connect it with loyalty to the brands as well. Because, so for example, I think everybody has their favorite brands as of now. But at the same time, loyalty is not as it was before. Like, I always go to Carrefour, I'm never going to Deleuze. No, it's not like that. It's mostly about how you represent your brand. So, for example, if it's shallow sometimes, but if there's an influencer that you don't like and suddenly that influencer is representing that brand that you thought, oh yeah, I could buy from there, then maybe you're not going to buy anymore because that influencer that you didn't like is representing them. So it's not portraying your values anymore. So there's a lot of that in play. Again, as I said before, the peer-to-peer, which can be either an influencer to audience or friends with friends. So if I bought a pair of pants and then they broke after 2 weeks of using them, then I'm probably gonna say to all my friends, please don't use them. As of online, we seek for an immersive experience because we still like shopping, and we're a fast generation, so we like to have the things like almost immediately. So online shopping is a weapon sometimes for us because it's to do it and you're in the comfort of your bed, you're just scrolling around buying stuff, but at the same time you have to wait to have the articles. So if you have to wait to have the articles, you have to have a very good immersive experience on the app itself. So the interface has to be good, and now they are developing ways to actually make us try the clothes online. So you can pull up your camera and try the shoes on and try to see if the accessory is matching the color of your skin and stuff. So I like that brands are moving towards a more immersive experience online because that's what we were seeking, I think.
Now it's I think we're hearing a lot about the digitalization, but you're also showing how this is embraced by the generation that wants to have things faster, right? But it's also a little bit like with the convenience. I also see that in some of the statistical data, Gen Z is giving reviews, most likely around 50% of generation is giving, whether it's positive or negative review. So I also see that there is more connection to the positive reviews, leaving the positive reviews. Can you share a little bit how this pan out with everything that you already shared with us? That effort, which I would say from my generation, an effort of leaving the review.
So yes, so reviews play a big part in our thought process. It can be from we have to book an apartment for our trip in Paris. We watch the reviews, and it's always I know which type of reviews we actually value. So, for example, I'm a lady. I'm 25. I'm a girl, and whenever I travel with my friends, so we're only girls. So if in the comments, in the reviews, I see the comment of a girl that is 25 or 29 or around my age, and she says, oh, the location is fantastic, it's perfect, I was safe and everything around, I'm going to trust that. And I'm probably going to book that apartment straight away. If in the comments it was a little bit crowded around and stuff like that, then I'm probably not going to go. So again, it's back to the peer-to-peer situation where we trust the information that we say to each other. And reviews are important. And I do leave reviews, both positive and negatives. A lot of the positives, I have to say, especially on website of fast fashion brands, are not the realest, or in the sense of there's always a reward if you post a review in that type of websites. So if you actually post a review and the review is positive, they're going to give you points, and you can use those points to have discounts later on when you check out. So the good reviews, sometimes you have to skim through them to actually find the good ones that are describing the products. The bad reviews, sadly, are always trustable. Like if somebody went to the extent of leaving a bad review, that means that you probably have to listen to them. Yeah. So I'm thinking, especially for a lot of times, is also constructive reviews. They don't have to be good or bad. I'm thinking skincare products, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Since we don't go to the shop to try them on and see if we have skin reactions or whatever, we order them online. We try to order them online, and then we see in the comments, oh, by the way, I have this type of skin and it kind of gave me an itch, or I have oily skin.
Mm-hmm.
This foundation was not apt to my skin type. It was not okay. So it's better to, if you have dry skin, please buy it. If you have oily skin, please don't buy it. So in that sense, it's not a bad review or a positive review. It's just a constructive review. Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see that we have to be very careful as companies on what kind of incentives we give, because as you just mentioned, Gen Z is ultra attentive to know, okay, this is a fake review, meaning that it's a promoted review because the company is trying to give points, etc. So you already know what are the proper good comments, good feedback versus the bad feedback. So companies have to be attentive and be careful. Authentic, like going back to that word that you're saying, authentic, transparent, in terms of authenticity on the comments. So it's interesting that you say I have to skim through the comments to go to the real ones.
And I would like to say also that you have to be very, like, the brand itself has to be very careful on how they publicize some products, because we do review them. We do have influencers online, micro influencers, macro influencers. They will review the product, so we're gonna know the truth about it. So if you portray a product as, I'm still thinking about skincare and makeup and foundation. So if you portray that product as perfect for every type of skin, and you publicize it and it's perfect on dark skin, light skin, albino skin, and whatever else, and then people actually try the product and it's not, then the brand is going to take a very big hit. So I would say be careful, but in the sense of actually publicize the products as people can actually use them, because we are going to review it and then there's going to be a scandal, and then, oh, that brand publicized it like that and it wasn't. So reviewing peer-to-peer, it actually works very well for Gen Z.
Nice. Thank you.
And I think what I'm hearing as well, one of my biggest value is transparency. And hearing, Francesca, what you're saying is that constructive feedback, which is like, if it doesn't work for my skin, it's also perfect and okay. I will find something that will work for my skin, but I don't like to be cheated based on some feedback and reviews that it's all okay for me, right? And I think that element of speed, what you said, and convenience, it's helping everybody. And that's a little bit what I'm trying to see, that although we are in different generations, we start to see the benefits that you have very quickly, right? And access to the tools, social media. I look sometimes how my daughter is reviewing and showing, oh, this is a good review, or this is a bad review, we're not going there. It comes also with everything you guys are showing our generations, that this is about the transparency. And I agree with Paolo, who said it's better to be honest and transparent to the customers. Sometimes when I look from customer experience, when the things are happening good, great. When the things are happening not so good, is be transparent, be informative to your customers, because that brings a natural reaction and empathy. Hope. Okay, I think those were majority of my questions. I probably could ask you more and more, but I would like us, Ed, and especially Francesca, anything that you would like to share with the community and then potential companies that want to look more strongly about the Gen Z, as Gen Z is coming to the bigger purchasing power.
Also be mindful of Gen Z. Gen Z is here, and Gen Z is now young adults. It's people with salaries and it's people with purchasing power. So embrace everything that we brought to the table. Of course, like, adapt it to your brand and adapt it to what you're actually promoting in your products. But the digital adventure is a real thing. So be up to times. If we want to see if all the brands, if 3 of the 5 brands inside of a market are doing something and everybody's buying from them, it's probably because they're doing something right. And it's something that we ask them for. So the digitalization, the attention to the environment, ecosystem, the recyclable products, and so on. we are a generation that is not afraid to speak up. We are loud, and I think everybody noticed that. Sometimes they say we're entitled, but we have to be entitled in a nice way. Like, we have to state, no, this is not okay anymore. We have to move on in this direction. Please listen to us. We're going to live in this world in a span of this next generation is going to be us, and then Gen Alpha, and then Gen Beta, and so on. So listen to the younger generations. We're here. We're loud. You can hear us everywhere. Just pop on Instagram, pop on TikTok, and you're going to find us for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
just not focusing on that part of we talk and we are loud. The question is, do you talk in the way of the older generation's talks, or do you also state it in the new generation words, using the new generation words? Because we actually, Joanna, I was once talking to Francesca, and I was shocked by the quantity of words that I don't know. For example, I heard about, this rees, and I said, what's a rees? So, like, can you just give some examples of words that you are now using that me, even a millennial or a Gen Z, no, I'm a millennial. Joanna, please correct me. I'm a millennial. Yeah, exactly.
Millennial.
So me as a millennial do not even know what they mean. So do you have any examples, or because you told me, I talk to my friends this way all the time. It's so funny.
For sure.
Can you
So
give some examples?
lingo is a whole other word. So we have the general, like everybody who speaks English has some type of words that we use on a daily basis. Then you have your native ones. So in Italian, I have a whole nother lingo. But the generation online is there's cap, slay, t, res, no cap, spille. There's so much going on. And actually, I was confronting myself, and it was me and my friends. We're all Gen Z, and we were watching videos online. And now Gen Alpha has a whole lingo as well. They have their own language as well. So we were trying to understand. Oh, this was T was Gen X,
But
and
can you also mention what are those things? What is tea? Tea is not a tree that you drink.
Tea is like spill the tea is like give me the gossip.
Okay.
Or tea in general is like something wow happened, and you're like, oh, tea,
Okay.
Cap and no cap is about so if you're capping, you're saying something that is not true.
Okay.
So no cap means you're truthful, you're saying the truth, you're
okay. So you're saying, oh, you're no cap means that you're saying the truth.
Oh, no cap, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow. Interesting.
We're gonna wait when those words will get to the dictionary,
Exactly.
as they sometimes come, and that's funny when I hear it. And Francesca, you said already, Gen Alpha has another vocabulary, and I think it goes through the generations, right? So, and this is where I want to reduce the bias to the younger generation, because all the generations always says something, oh, this is not the way as we have done, this is something different, there is a new vocabulary, there is new expressions. But that we had our vocabulary and expressions, we had different behaviors, different subculture groups. So those things were always happening through the generations, and they will continue. For me, that bias, Gen Z is this way or the other way, is more about the human curiosity, who we are as people, and how we can work together. And I think I love this meeting because we are in 3 generations, and in that diversity, I think understanding what are the drivers of the human nature, and there is new possibilities because of the technology. I didn't have an internet to read reviews, and I didn't have a privilege to see how the sun sets in San Francisco while I'm sitting in Poland. Now we can see what happens on the other side of the world. We can share the connections and influencer not only from one country, but the cross countries, cross cultural, so that nuances of generations, but also nuances of different cultures are becoming very transparent to all of us. And I think I like, Francesca, when you said that Gen Z is the transparency as one of the core value, because it's a strong value for me as well. And hence, I'm loving this conversation, because I hope that whether it's a LinkedIn community, whether somebody who is listening to it, and also on different Gen Z research, is not about the bombarding Gen Z with specific personalized advertisement, but also understanding the journey of that younger generations and the generations to come.
Nice. Thank you so much. It was an absolutely pleasure to talk to both of you. And Joanna, you have so much experience in customer service, and it's so inspiring to see a leader on customer service and all the areas that you also said. But I'm think focus on customer service because I love the fact that you are seeking to the younger generations to know more about how do they behave, so that you can continue going to companies and help them to have a better customer service and aligning to all the customer segments that exist. So I'm inspired to see leaders like you who constantly seek for the new things out there to be better leaders. And at the same time, Francesca, thank you so much for being the eyes in the market and focusing and understanding this Gen Z generation and the Generation Alpha, so on. So also can help other companies to grow in this area and marketing better for the customers, the new generations that are coming. You as a marketing expert, you study marketing, so great to see someone who has this passion to understand the trends and be on top of things. And so it was great, this conversation. I absolutely loved to hear more about the Gen Z. And one day probably the Generation Alpha will be with the virtual reality glasses talking about the other generations that are so strange. So it's so funny to see how we are evolving in this sense. So I asked if you had any question before we drop off. No.
No, I just want to thank Francesca for sharing your story with all of us, and Paolo for connecting us together. And I think it's a great opportunity to have this small community and share our insights.
Absolutely. It was great to introduce you to each other. And if you want to know more about the conference that John is going to talk about Gen Z, you can send an email to askjoanna101@gmail.com or add on LinkedIn and follow. I'm going to put the link below of the conference. Francesca as well. If you want to reach out to Francesca and get some consulting insights on the new generation marketing Gen Z, feel free to reach out. I'm going to quote the people on this post afterwards so that you can reach out. Thank you so much once again. And
Thank you.
talk soon.
Talk to you